And we're back. We're back. So, as you, as I mentioned previously, as you come forward, you can see that the camp has been clearly under attack recently, where cadavers seem to be piled up in pyres and had been set aflame, and you can see this rising smoke about um, sort of just outside the camp. There's among the cadavers, you can see the skeletal and zombified remains, which you would guess zombies, but not only of humanoids, but you also see larger beasts, either beasts of the jungle, sort of. They could be. You know, predator is sort of a feline predators or mostly tigers because you wouldn't have lions here, but whatever. But also see smaller dinosaurs that seem to be in the same kind of state and that have just been piled on. The
How old would the remains be?
Well, the remains are under fire, so are
Yeah.
being burned. But clearly, as
So quite recent.
yes, the fires are sort of smoldering. They most likely the fire maybe could have been set sort of late afternoon, but definitely, but it's still burning basically.
Okay.
The As the wind, Vroon, as the wind sort of comes in from the camp as you pass by, as you sort of set your rowboats onto the ledge, to the beach. There's a definite smell of, I would say, misery. Um, it smells like mixed in with the smells of the jungle and the smoke, maybe hidden behind it. There is that smell of that you would have experienced in some of the poorer areas of Waterdeep, for
Mm-hmm.
example, or in Portianzaru. There's a I guess, yeah, there's a smell of desperation and of disease that seems to coming from the camp. The two guards that have sort of stepped up. You can see both of them have bows and arrows knocked in your direction. You can see that they're well, you can't see because that's how. Um, but there are other platforms situated next to the around the fence, and you can see that eyes are directed towards you, but also towards the north. So over here, I don't know if you can see my pinging.
No.
Wait, the map is not small enough. Okay, somewhere over there.
Yeah,
I
somewhere
see
here.
it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a tower here in the corner where the guard seems to be looking at towards you. Here there's another tower right above and this one has been keeping eye out towards the north. I believe, yeah, there's a couple of other um, places there. Oh, right, okay. So as you move up, one of the guards, in a very Chaltian accent, cries out, "Identify yourselves! Speak!"
Travelers.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank the gods! Let them in! Let them in quickly! You can see the guards the guards sort of rush, and these um the heavy wooden fence, sort of portcullis, sort of is raised upwards, um and you are invited inside. There you go. As you pass by, every single guard has each and single one of you speak. Just a word is enough, but you can see that they're they're ascertaining if you are intelligent and not just the cadavers
Mhm.
of adventurers that have been walking through. Um, yes, you may go in. Um, as soon as Inete passes inside, she has a frown. Salida as well. Actually, all three women react to there's a stench. It is the stench of wet, um, sort of mud, disease. There are flies everywhere. Um, which for Vroon it's not a problem, but Gale, Sorsha, Heinrich, you're definitely feeling the stings of these insects coming up on you. Um,
I'll go all beekeeper style with my cloak.
okay, so your cloak of many fashions. You close in, it goes through
With
or it
a
becomes a
net,
veil,
yeah.
and yeah, okay. Um,
That's a cool way to use that.
yeah, absolutely, yeah, oh, absolutely.
like
I love it. I love
It's
it.
actually. Yeah.
Um, though it does not prevent you. It does not prevent these. These are, um, for lack of
Tiny.
these are lack of for lack of better description. These are the equivalent of tsetse flies, right? These are blood sucking flies. These they sting, um, and um, a lot of them seem to be gorged, as in when you slap them on the on your shoulders, on your arms, they do leave a wet splat, and you can see they are these flies are well fed. Let's put it that way.
Mhm.
Um, as you come in, I'm going to try and see. Did I delete it?
I would have popped Lero,
Okay.
popped off.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he would not they would have not understood. Let's put
Yeah.
it that way. No matter. Anyways.
Is there anyone approaching us yet, or
Yes. So coming out from the tent right here. Well, let me just get it here.
the big tent? Yes.
Not the big tent actually.
Oh.
Here, this tent right here.
Mhm.
You see a young woman, maybe her in her late 20s. Um, she's exhausted. She's very clearly northerner. She's not a local, despite the image. She's very, and you can see she's exhausted. She's wearing sort of fairly sort of linen trousers. Um, it at some and sort of a long shirt with the a silver upon the heart. There is a silver embroidery of the order of the fist.
No, yeah, gauntlet.
The gauntlet, yeah. So
Mhm.
the order of the gauntlet, and at some point these robes might have been white, but they have been colored by mud. They have been colored by grime. By grime, you can see across her shirt. There is a spattering of what um, what seems to be either some dark liquid, not blood. It's not dark enough to be blood, but it's maybe along the something along those lines. She's wiping her hands as she says, "Oh, please welcome. I am Sister Sayas of the
Are you in
Order of the Gauntlet.
charge?
Well, no, not exactly. But please, before we move any further, I would need to have a look at you.
Very well.
And please, just one at a time, come forward.
Mhm. I'll step forward.
Okay.
Like,
She looks actually Vroon, she doesn't really look towards you. As she turns and says, "Oh, I am sufficiently aware of your kind. Um the flies do not bother you as much as we do. But I must make sure that you are free of disease. This camp
very well.
is well, it's a bit of a hellhole if but anyways, let me have a look at you." She examines you one by one,
Okay.
asking to see your hands, to look at you, to look at. And as she's looking towards you, as she's examining you, it does allow you to examine her. So if anybody wants to make me either a medicine check or a or investigation check, you may do so.
I'm gonna
Yes.
roll an investigation check.
Okay.
I'll go for medicine and yeah. She said she's sister from the other Order of the Gauntlet. So
Mm-hmm.
does she has
Yes,
any
I'll get to that.
insignia? Okay.
I'll get to that. So medicine. Okay. Um, as far as you can tell, she's in good. She's exhausted. There, and I'm talking exhausted. As as my wife would know, and you can see in her background. Imagine a week of 12-hour shifts, full week, as in 7 to 8 days in COVID ward, right? This is what she would. This is what she would look like. This is what she would look like. Um, her hands are trembling. There are bags. The bags under her eyes. She smells strongly of the same kind of smoke that you use for insect repellent.
Yeah.
Um, which Vroon, you guess, is coming in from the tent up here. Um, actually, from this tent right here and the one below. Though actually the one below, yeah, I guess as well. She's You can see that below her. She's very much in the dress of it would be a nurse, right? But in the context of Faerun of Dungeons and Dragons, so the white robes,
A healer.
yeah, she's definitely in the garb of a healer, practicing the healer.
Yeah.
As she looks upon each of you, finds you, each of you, she does have sort of she has maybe sort of maybe a small nod when she sort of a weird tick as she comes up against um, Sorsha and Selida, and then okay, but just sort of keeps moving on. Just thank the gods. Oh, and you asked, she is wearing around her wrist. There
Mm-hmm.
is the holy symbol of Helm. She is a priestess of Helm.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Thank Helm for your arrival, at least safe. Though I apologize in advance for the welcome that you're about to get. As you can see, we have been on trying times here at this camp. But you would want to meet the commander. Wait, why are you here first?
We are on our way traveling. This is just a stop along the way. But it seems that we might be able to help you.
If you have any healing, or we would gladly take any help you can get. If you are men at arms or a men of magic, please, we are running low on strength. But and before she says anything else, there's a sort of a booming voice coming in from the larger tent at the center. Sayas! Who are these people? Bring them in. Sorry about the headphones.
Fine.
I turn towards her and say, "We are all dead, and once we've done our introductions,
Hmm.
I think I can take over, and you are going to take a rest. If you couldn't recognize us for what we are, you're probably not awake enough to be practicing right
Please
now."
let us continue this conversation later.
Hmm.
The commander is going. The commander is an impatient man, especially these past weeks. Please, you are. Let's see.
Great. An impatient, giving order man. All that I like.
As you step into the it's the large command tent. Let's see. Um. uh, right. Okay. So as you step in, it is clearly a command tent. Of which Gale, you've seen dozens, right?
Yeah.
A large foldable table. Yes, don't go in. I'll just leave you outside. Not a problem.
I'm gonna stand on the tent.
Ah! um, you are as you enter. There's the smoke. The smell of the smoke. It is there is a netting, a sort of fine mesh netting that has been placed over the door of the a sort of a mosquito net in front of the which does not keep most of the flies in. While the area inside is fairly free of flies, you can still hear a couple of buzzing gnats flying around.
Mhm.
You are met inside, sort of standing over a long table cluttered with um, empty um, bowls, sort of food, drink. You can see that there's a couple of maybe bottles that have been tossed to the side on on to the side of the tent. There is a bed in the back, where and held onto a wooden mannequin is a full plate of armor. The man standing above the table, looking down at a sheet of papers and a what seemed to be a maybe a map of the general area. Definitely not as precise as the ones as you have, but you can see that there are um, an assortment of small objects placed in different areas around with and clearly you can see the pieces of two flags on the map, one where Camp Righteous used to be and another one where Camp Vengeance is currently. So clearly sort of a strategic map of the area.
Mhm.
And the flag for Camp Righteous is still standing, or
Yeah.
or did they knock it over?
No, it is definitely still in there.
Okay.
But
We
it's
do have some news for them.
no. These are the same. It's mostly maybe a flag of sort of an objective rather than okay presence. So you'll notice that, for example, around Camp Vengeance, there's a flag and maybe a couple of pieces, while Camp Righteous, there's just a flag.
Right. Okay.
The man who I have an image of him here,
Ooh.
Oh.
Nice.
which I have
Where?
just Googled. Here you go.
Oh,
Oh, come on,
okay.
look, break bones.
Now,
Okay.
What name?
just so you know, compared to this would have been him at court, in Waterdeep or somewhere else. So forget the
Yeah.
so the clothing has definitely lost it is
Apparel.
torn. It is he still wears it. The jewelry is still there in a sense, as he's trying to keep a sort of a noble appearance.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very much that thing where you'll get a foreigner in a very hot country that insists on wearing the three-piece
His
suit.
own, yeah.
So you can see that his clothing, which is most likely Waterdavian or I think it'd be Waterdavian style. Maybe a style, Heinrich, you would recognize from a couple of years ago. Um, is clotted with salt stains, with sweat, and some areas you can see it is sticking to his skin. This is someone who finds that appearances is fairly important as a standing, but maybe as a reminder of who he is.
Does he look sick?
He looks well, I mean, he looks pale, definitely. It's not that he looks sick. He looks maybe like he's recovering from the flu, from a very. He's
Mm.
there's all of his all of his movements are made with effort. There's a fluidity that is missing there.
Yeah.
As in, it takes a lot of energy to
Right.
do just the most simple of things. He is again exhausted. But as he looks about you, you can definitely see that he's still sharp with regards to his mind. He's physically exhausted, but there's definitely that moment where he notices you, each and one of you, as you enter the tent.
How high is the tent?
The tent is not that high. This is a campaign tent, so you would probably be stooping a bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Even if you stood into and you have a tendency of staying in the center.
Yeah.
Mm. So who's the first one to enter?
I've-
I'll probably enter first.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Vroon comes up next.
Yeah, I'll go in after.
I'll enter as last.
Okay. As the first two in basically in heavy armor walk in.
I'm not wearing my heavy armor at the moment. We just
Oh
came
no,
from the
because you
river.
just came from the boat. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So as the glinting mist
Smoking.
veiled armor of Gale walks in with the he immediately, you notice that his eyes sort of dart from your face to the symbol of Valkyr on your chest, but he also knows that this is the three sails
Mhm.
pin at your shoulder. Oh, mercenaries then. Well,
Oh,
Only
yeah.
I,
Oh.
Captain. Adventurer right
do you
now.
speak for the others
Ah.
then?
Yes, she does.
Well, we speak as a group.
Yes.
Good. I will
Yeah.
not. And he has a look towards Vroon and says, "No need to clutter up this for this discussion. I'll have maybe 1-2 representatives at most. The rest can wait outside."
No.
Do I recognize him from somewhere? From see if he is his Waterdavian style?
Would you? Would you have any reason to? Uh,
If
you
he's
know what?
part
Let's
of the
let's do this.
nobility?
Yeah, let's do this. Roll me a history check. Let's leave this to fate.
Okay.
Hmm. There's a. Okay. Um. Underneath the beard, the hair, the long hair, the unkempt beard. There's something familiar about him. but you're unsure if you've met him, if you've seen him. This is not some. The voice wouldn't come sort of remind you of anything. There's definitely something along the lines of you might have met him some time ago, but you've never interacted with him. But being
Right.
of the Order of the Gauntlet, maybe during one of the social gatherings, if he was there as he's not dressed as nobility, he's richly dressed, but he's richly dressed as he would as a person of his standing as a commander in the Order of the Gauntlet. This is um, it's not the frou-frou of nobility. It's more of dress uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, as Sorsha, you mentioned that.
No.
As you mentioned that, no, he says. I see. Let us not. Let me remind you, before we go any further, that you are in my care,
It seems
and
that
I
your
will be
camp.
spoken to as the commander of this military camp.
Well then, Commander, it seems your camp is in need of aid. If you wish to send us away for the frivolities of your chain of command, then by all means.
I only wish for a conversation to be comfortable and my tent not be cluttered with useless voices.
Heinrich goes outside and says, "All right, I don't like him. I'm going outside." He's like he just goes outside with a big sigh and
I think Vroon at that point will say, like, well, you've annoyed the mage.
I am sure he will get over it.
no, I don't like you, and I just said like I don't like you at all, and I just go outside.
Captain, let me be very clear
Commander.
on something.
Commander.
Commander.
I'm Gale would not make
Yeah, Gale would
not
not
make the
make that
mistake.
mistake.
No,
Exactly.
I would.
No, you wouldn't make the mistake. You wouldn't make the mistake. You would do it on purpose.
Yeah.
Gil looks at him and says, Commander, we stopped by here because there was clearly signs of trouble and distress here.
Wait, I think I understand. I think the commander is referring to me when he's talking about you.
Is he?
As he turns to you and says, he says, yeah, no, actually, I think he would sit down, and he sort of drops himself into sort of a chair. And this is a. You can see the chair is. It's not a campaign chair, so it's not a sort of a comfortable chair. It's mostly about maybe sort of refurbished or sort of improvised. With the. And as he sits down, he says, "In my experience with, well, adventurers, I find that negotiations go quicker if I have to just talk to one of them rather than convince each one individually. I apologize if I have offended you. I just want this to go quickly and so I can go back to my duties handling this distressed camp. But do not worry, I will have work for you all."
Only a frown when he says that. Oh,
Well,
of
There
course.
we go.
and in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
That was quite a
The
barbecue.
countdown.
We have experience with this now. We know how long it takes.
Incredible.
I was a second off.
I'm back. Sorry.
No problem.
Welcome back. We're used to it.
Mm. um,
Heinrich, you can come back. He apologized.
No,
Mm.
no, I don't like this place. I
And-
prefer to be in the jungle.
as you come out of the tent, Vroon, you can see that Sister Sias is currently talking to Eku and Inete, and it basically is the two of them are the three of them are sort of conversing. Selida has sat down maybe near the goats that you can see and sort of maybe playing around with the goats and just and you see her point not only towards the tent that she came out of, but to the other one on the other side as well. The so back into the to the commander. I overheard as you came in that you are not only men of arms that I can see, but you are also, and when he says men, it's not male, right? It's people.
Yeah.
People of arms.
Yes. Yeah, you are you you are proficient in weaponry, but you also have healing. If that is the case, I would refer you to Sister Sias as to help my men recover from the epidemic that has hit us.
Are you stricken with this illness?
I do not have the time to be ill. And
That's
while
not my
Sister
question,
Sias and
Commander.
I will reassure you, Sister Sias has been most insisting on examining me every morning. I have been diligent with the paste that we have been getting in from Port Nyanzaru. However, we have not gotten any supplies in some time. How did you arrive by here? By boat, I believe?
Yes.
Yes, by the river.
Good. Then you have the means to go back. We are in dire need of reinforcements, and there are people in Port Nyanzaru who owe us supplies. The merchant princes have been stingy on their promises of late, and I would.
I understand, Captain. However, we are on a mission of the most urgent importance that will not allow us to go back to Port Nyanzaru right now.
Oh, of course. Adventurers are always on more urgent matters. But in my experience, that just means that they require more coin.
If you want those resurrection spells that are not working anymore to work again, you will let us pass.
I have enough in keeping my men alive without thinking of having them resurrected. To tell you the truth, if resurrection was a problem, we would be in a much better state in this camp. Every night we are assaulted by the undead. Every night we are harassed by the beasts around.
How many in your camp?
Let's see.
And how many sick?
A lot.
Jesus Christ.
Oops.
More than a score of my men are sick, debilitated with what the locals call monkey fever, brought by these flies that bug us incessantly. I have buried men for the last month. It started up at our base at camp righteous, which if you are from Port Nyanzaro, you must have passed through.
Yes, the remains
Indeed,
of
we
it.
have.
You speak of a mission. Well, I am on my own here. The Order of the
Yes.
Gauntlet has made aware of a great evil in this jungle, and it is our purpose, our oath, to cleanse this jungle of the undead and the source of that undeath. Unfortunately, the jungle does not appreciate our efforts, which is why
It rarely does.
I require supplies, why I require more men, and why I would insist that your help be made available.
Oh, we will help, all right.
We can help.
We
You're
offer.
sick. We cannot travel back.
And we would appreciate if you would not insult us each time you speak of it, because you'll pass your time apologizing afterwards.
I am
Well,
done apologizing to adventurers.
you do it again. Please stop.
For the sake of your sick man, I am now going to go into another tent and help some of these unfortunate people.
We bring at least 3
But
full healers, which
you
means
do need to mind your manners, Commander. And
I-
then Vroon also steps outside.
There's, if you want, make me an insight check.
Yep.
I'll do 2 if
A
it's
normal roll, 'cause it's not about him lying.
Yeah.
23.
Good.
This is a man. Yeah, Sorsha. Okay. Okay. Enough. You get it.
I was going to do it too because inside
Go for it.
is
Do it. Do
Yeah,
it.
go
Come
ahead.
on.
Go ahead. And actually,
I
I'm giving you
can't-
advantage on this one, Gale.
Yeah.
Aw.
Okay. Sorry. I don't know why. Sometimes it rolled twice. It's
Doesn't
rolled
ma-
It's
doesn't
twice.
matter.
alright.
I mean, let's face it. This guy is sort of an open book.
Mhm.
Gale, you don't need. You rolling because you're rolling, but I would have given you anyways. This is a man who is on the edge of trying to control the situation. He is completely um, the authority that he has. He's probably a very good commander. He's just so over his head with the situation that he's grasping at straws. He doesn't the I mean, and let's face it, as part of the insight, Sorsha has been extremely rude.
Yeah.
Yes. You
He
come into
started it.
no, he came into somebody's home, he said one at a time, please, and you said no, fuck off.
Well, I have a right to say no.
You are in his home and this is a military commander. I get this I get this stuff every time I play a military NPC in a LARP, where the adventurers goes, no, I'm more important than you because I'm a PC. You're just a character. This guy is a decorated commander of the Order
Yeah.
of the Gauntlet.
Yeah.
He in
But in the jungle, so yeah.
Yes, but you're not in the jungle. You're in his camp, and you were warned that he was on his last nerve. You were warned. So when it comes to diplomacy, anyhow, there's definitely the I think this is Vroon. You definitely feel on going. Okay, that could have gone better.
Oh yeah, but Vroon is basically just going like, look, if he's insisting now on shouting at us for being rude at him, I'm just like, you know what?
His
I can already heal 6 people today. I'm going to talk to the healer and ask her who the 6 worst people are.
There's definitely as you step out, leaving just Gale and Sorsha.
Oh no, I'm going out.
There's definitely a moment. Yes, that last interaction, he is done with you. He is not going to address you. You do not exist. You are not in his line of sight, and he turns his attention towards Gale. Let's move, and as you guys step out, let's move the camera out to the outside. Sister, you can see Sister Sias has so Heinrich, as you're pacing about. Sister Sias, you can see Inete and Eku going towards the tent here at the bottom. Salida just sort of sitting on her haunches, sort of looking at all of this. She doesn't seem to be bothered by the flies much. The camp, Heinrich, as you're looking out, this looks like a refugee camp. There are in certain areas you might have mud up to your ankles. In some areas, you're not sure if the water is completely cleaned, though with a cleric, she might be able to purify it. But that does take resources. There's definitely that conversation when Eku talks about, okay, do you have clean water? Do you have clean? Sias has clearly mentioned at some point, and this is maybe where you guys come in on the conversations. Is some days I have to make a choice between cleaning the water for people to drink and the life of another. I am at my rope's end. Helm has done, through my means, has done all that I can. We've sent several patrols in the area to try and find out where these things are coming from, but they seem to be everywhere, and their attacks are now constant. Yes, any help that you might bring would be a boon, to us. And as she turns, she sees Sorsha and Vroon sort of stepping out, not knowing how to read Vroon's expression because he's a Luxodon,
Yeah.
but definitely looking at the scowl on Sorsha's face and says, "Ah, well, that happened pretty much as I had expected it. Though
It
you
was
are
predictable.
unharmed, so it could have been worse. It's
Say
please
what now?
please excuse the commander. We've been here now
He
for
is.
we've been
It
here
is.
for the past 2 months,
It is
and
clear he is tired.
we have not had a decent night's rest since. We have been hounded now for the past 3 weeks constantly by a stream of undead as soon as the sun goes down. The only respite that we have is when the storms are too heavy for them to move about.
They come at night.
Yes,
Hmm.
and if you would help me, I would like to heal as many as I can, and have them man the walls, at least for tonight.
If you could direct me to the people who are most ill.
Please choose any tent. Um,
And maybe I guess you're sleeping in turns. I can help with the recovery of those who sleep, help them recover better if you allow me before each of them take a turn.
okay.
I can help
So
them.
yeah, so definitely as Sister Saya starts basically moving you about on the different. So what exactly do you do? So Vroon, you're going to be what resources do you spend basically?
So first thing I'm going to do
Mm-hmm.
is Divine Sense,
Okay.
just in case. Like,
No, so 60 feet. Okay.
yeah.
Um, there's definitely um I mean, you would feel the undeath coming from the pyres, right? As in, maybe in the pyres, piled in the bodies, there's a couple of undead that are still
Yeah.
technically active, but you do not feel anything from coming in from the camp.
Okay.
The only thing that you would maybe feel is no, because it's consecrated, right?
Yeah.
So there would be maybe
Consecrated or desecrated.
well, you would feel consecrated. So, for example, holy water, I think you would be able
Yeah.
to detect, I guess.
Okay, yeah, I think so.
So definitely that resource.
Place or object, so yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so that you did definitely detect the holy symbol of Helm, which definitely has been seeing some use. Maybe one or two of the barrels that seem to be have been consecrated to be holy water, because apparently from what you heard that maybe that's a bit more, I don't know. But definitely so okay, so that's
That's the first thing.
so okay, yeah. So
Resource-wise, I am going to spend 6 times 5 points from my lay on hands to
okay,
cure disease from 6 people.
right, okay. So okay, that you're gonna do that. Sorsha, you're gonna be helping with Song of Rest, I'm guessing.
Yes, and cure wounds.
Okay. So what are the resources that you're using? I think how many spell slots?
So I'm gonna preserve. I'm gonna preserve my 3rd level spells, and I'm gonna use all of the rest, which makes all of the rest except for my loot.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I use 7 cure wounds.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll stop you right there. That's probably the point where I come out of the tent too, because
we're not done. We're not done.
Yeah.
No. It's just before you all sent healing spells towards the soldiers, I would say bring them in. Let me cast Beacon of Hope, and that way they regain maximum number of hit points from any healing.
Okay.
I'm not healing.
Plus.
I'm curing.
Yeah, okay, but
What
if you're gonna
I-
cast 7 healing spells, let me
Mm.
at least cast a Beacon of Hope.
What's
so that
what's the radius
Yeah.
on Beacon of Hope?
30 feet.
And what is the Beacon of Hope? What does it do?
Any healing is maximum. So, for example, if it's a 3d8, for example, it is maximum of those 3d8 directly.
I actually noticed, by the way, that I have Prayer of Healing now. That's new.
Yep.
Okay.
That is one of the new Paladin spells, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna use my Bardic Inspiration to add to.
Right, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think that is maxed, unfortunately. That's interesting. Does Beacon of Hope?
Well, probably since it's healing.
Anyways, we're just looking at resources, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're definitely this whole part is is less mechanical. It's more about I just want to know what you're putting into. Heinrich, are you doing anything?
I wanted to do one last thing.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Sorry. Perform to while I'm curing to perform to soothe everyone. So if you want me to do something later on, just ask.
Okay. No, so definitely the idea is you're okay. I'll get to that. Heinrich, what are you doing? What is Heinrich doing?
I'll lend my unseen servant to one of the nurses, I guess. And for the rest, if they need extra fire, I can create bonfires if they need to.
Mm-hmm.
And there is just one question. I'm just gonna turn to the nurse and I'm gonna say, like, from which direction do they come?
They usually come from. They usually come in from the west, south and
I'll
west.
go. I'll go on the tower of southwest, and I'll stand guard. I'm specialized in long distance offensive arcane spells. So
Okay.
if you see some magic flying away, you know that they're coming, and I can shoot. And I tell the distance of how
Do
far I can
you
shoot.
do you change the form of Nugget?
Oh no.
No. Okay.
Wait. You know what? For once, I'm gonna change it.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm gonna change it in. I'm gonna ask Iku which kind of bird is native to the lands of here in the jungle. That
I mean,
is
you've seen a few,
useful.
right? You've seen a few. Um, let's put it this way. I think you've got as fine familiar. You've got the owl, the raven. I think.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
take a I'm
Um,
gonna take a raven.
Just take those stats and it will be adapted to the local, which means the raven would be a parrot, or an
yeah.
owl would be something well, there are owls in the jungle actually, so specific, but definitely just we can reskin
Yeah.
a raven or an owl as your choice basically.
I'm gonna make a raven,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna send it as a scout.
Okay.
Mhm.
And for the rest, I'm gonna stand at the location that she said as a guard. That as the moment the first stench of undead comes, I will throw any spell that I have in my.
Okay.
I mean, technically, it's the same. Like my dinosaur is technically a horse.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly, it's a warhorse. um
It's a war horse.
so the
War horse.
okay. Okay, good. Um, Echo is definitely going to be sort of dealing with the whole. Salida has pretty much been out of sight, out of mind, as in she's just watching everything going, and she's been sort of just
Actual.
walking around the camp, maybe talking to a guard here and there. But mostly, as long as nobody sort of tells her, okay, you get go, she doesn't really have any skills for the situation.
Actually, Gil, but you told me, and I understand that I'm not finished with the
Yeah,
commander
yeah.
yet. But once she's out,
Mm-hmm.
because once she's aware of the clean water problem,
Mm-hmm.
she will definitely ask Salida, for instance, to throw out all the unclean water so that she can mend all the containers to make them watertight again, and then fill them up with my decanter
Create
of
water.
endless water.
Wow.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
nice. Yes.
Oh
Okay.
shit.
Oh, you're bringing that artifact out. Okay, that's gonna be interesting.
Mhm.
That's gonna be
Didn't
very.
we had that jug of alchemy also that can create food and
Yeah.
Yeah.
stuff like that?
Yes.
Also, yep.
Well, I have a feeling they're gonna demand the
Uh-oh.
new artifact.
Yeah.
Let
The.
them try.
Yeah,
Let them
yeah,
try.
they're gonna do it, I guess. But well,
I mean,
There's definitely as you so Gale, as you're walking around sort of filling these, so the the 2.5 hours before the night falls, and the early they start lighting the braziers around the camp are busy. They're very, very busy.
Yeah.
Salida, of course, is mumbling and saying, "I'm not done." What is I did not become a guide to be doing busy work. Sort of busy. You know, worker work in a sense. Um, and as you fill up the barrels with clean water, Sister Silas does have an envious look to the artifact that you are wearing. Definitely. Um, but well, let's see. I'm gonna have her make an Arcana an Arcana check. Because for all she knows, it might be a holy artifact that you have, and therefore she has that respect.
Yes, of course, it's a holy artifact, of course.
Yeah, okay. 7. She has no idea what it is, which means that she does not recognize it as a mundane, magical item.
Yeah.
She just thanks that a priest of Valkyr has the
Water.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
create water. Maybe that's what she's expecting that you're doing. But yes,
Is
okay.
it actually endless? Like you can make
Yes.
as much water as
Yes.
you want, or
Every 6 seconds, I think it's
yeah, because the alchemy jug only does 8 gallons. That's peanuts.
it's not a
compared
lot.
to
No, but
It is.
but 8 gallons. If you're using it, it's
it's
pure
it's a lot.
water. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
but it's not necessarily for drinking. But if it's just for use for medical, that's quite a bit.
Mm.
So, and any bit helps, right?
Yep.
Actually, no. Salida, what she can Salida kind of sees one thing that she might do, is as you're sort of pulling out the water barrels, she sort of mumbles and understands maybe what's going on, and she starts. She looks about at the rain catchers that are situated along the lines of the camp, and says, "These foreigners, they have no idea how to." And she starts setting up, sort of rearranging the water catchers into the barrels so that they actually get clean water, and maybe keep them that way. Though you realize that with the amount of flies that are in the area, water would be tainted very, very quickly. But yeah, so you set yourself to those tasks. But let's get back
So-
to let's flash back a bit to the
Yeah.
conversation between
Yeah.
Niles Breakbone and Gale.
You tell him, Gale.
Yeah.
Your companions do not appreciate authority.
That is often the case with one that hasn't chosen a military path.
I recognize that you have made another choice. An honorable company, from what I've heard. I have fought with some of the bronze sails before, though I learned quite quickly that naval warfare was not to my taste. So, what is this higher calling that has brought you here, then?
Heinrich, have you kept us up to date to what's happening in the bigger cities since the plague has started?
Let me roll a d20 in private for that.
Okay. Go
Just to know what I know, what Gale knows.
I'm gonna put myself a DC for that.
Actually, Heinrich,
Yes.
I would like for you to roll a deception check against Sorsha's insight, because you have been
come on.
because you have been contacting on her request Caleb and Bonnie.
And you
So
have
okay,
been.
so sorry. What is Sorsha's passive insight?
It's 17.
17. That's your DC.
You're not making it easy for him.
I am not, but that's how. If you specifically ask, so how are my friends, and he's going, oh, they're fine. It's a lie.
Before I roll, can I use Chronal Shift for that? Yes or no?
I will allow you.
Just
I will allow you the chronal shift. It will not take in a use now because this would have happened days ago, right?
okay.
So
Okay.
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Dice gods, I know you hate me, but for once, give me something good.
A 15. Not bad, but not good enough. You have
but
a 0 in deception. What was the you were just gonna roll a d20?
Yep.
Okay. Well, re-roll that d20 because you're using Chrono Shift.
No, because I'm thinking because it's Sorsha who is talking with me. So technically, I think I will leave it like that.
Okay.
If it would be Gale or Vroon, I would use Chrono Shift. But for Sorsha,
So
leave it like that.
so Sorsha, would you have been so clearly with that one part, that one dialogue, you would have said, "Nah, they're fine, everything," and you're going bullshit. What's going on? Or would you have left it and going, "He's lying to me, but if he needs to, I'm not gonna push." Would you have pushed?
I would have stopped. Look at him. Just stare at him.
And cast suggestion.
No. Just
Counterspell.
look at him right in the eyes.
And read his thoughts.
No, but it is as if.
Okay.
So I would not
So
tell you with words to spill, but you get the message.
right. So what did this? So considering this exchange, now I put it back to you, Heinrich. Would you have informed the rest of the group of what's going on in Waterdeep?
Yep.
Okay. So yes, now we're finally back to this conversation. Gale, you have your answer. So yes, you are aware of what's going on.
Commander, you told us your mission was to seek the bigger evil that is throwing all those undead here at the jungle. You might not be aware, but if you here don't care much for the resurrection spells, outside of this jungle, in all the major cities of the Sword Coast, the powers that are keeping those cities stable are trembling. Because everyone knows right now that a noble or a ruler that is killed will not come back. Neverwinter. Baldur's Gate. Waterdeep, who has sent us, are all anxiously awaiting to know how many of their nobles, how many of the ruling families will be still living when this curse is finally lifted.
Make me a persuasion roll.
God damn it! I'm rolling awfully tonight.
I'm giving you my inspiration.
Okay, that only makes it to a 12.
Oh,
I was
12
going
is
to
already
say,
good.
Yeah.
does that mean I can reroll?
Am I during that conversation? Am I not far from her? Can I use Chrono Shift to help her?
Um,
Or is it just no? You're already guarding the tower and.
But you need to have light of sight for Chrono Shift.
Yep, I just checked it.
Hmm.
Sorry.
Considering the Gale, why don't you roll me for bless? I think it's something that it is.
It
You
would
would have
automatically.
you would have probably had a quick prayer before
Yeah. Guidance, not
guidance.
bless.
Yes. So roll a d4.
God damn it. Yay. 13.
13.
Yeah. Volker is not the god of inspiration and eloquence.
No, this is nothing to do with Volker. This is to
This
do
is
with
you.
RNGesus.
Yeah, RNGesus. yeah.
RNGesus is the god that you have to pray to.
He looks to you, and there's a moment where he frowns and he says, "Do you honestly believe that do you honestly expect me to believe that such a task would have been given to mercenaries? My men have been here for months, and I'm sorry, the DC was 15.
Yeah, no problem.
Our order has been here in the jungles for months. You do not expect that we would have received any message with that regards? Do you honestly? I appreciate you believe your mission has a sense of urgency, but I cannot imagine that anyone of note in these cities would send you four. They would be. Yeah, actually, no, you four, as he consider. No, actually, you'd be you three, because he does not consider the locals as. No, he would. No, actually, the way
He doesn't know that I was sent from
Yeah, exactly.
Waterdeep, so yeah, that makes sense.
He thought you would have been recruited on site. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. I mean, he's an asshole or a
Yeah,
racist asshole, but
He is what? Yeah. Well, by the way, I just checked, and I do not understand why the module would put this in, but he's technically counted as a noble, which means he has 9 hit points.
oh, awesome, kill him.
Which means that
I mean,
I think
no,
Sorsha would be able to put him down with a nasty word.
I was actually considering just sleep.
Yeah.
I was that close to use the sleep spell.
That is why I checked the hit points, and I'm going 9. That
I
can't be
was
possible.
so close to use that.
I will. If at any point you use it, I will definitely allow it. It's
Oh, just right now, he's so lucky I don't have sleep and I'm not a bard with a good cutting word or vicious mockery, because he's gonna get an earful just after he's finished talking.
no, he's basically finished. I mean, he even as that sentence sort of comes to an end, he says, "But it is the hour grows late, and these discussions bring us to nowhere. So, please, if you can do things for my men and help us with the defenses for tonight, please see Sister Sayas. She will coordinate. I need to I need to make sure that, and in the morning, I will most likely have a task for you. Some of my men have been isolated in the jungle and have not come back. I want to be sure that they are safe. And if you have able guides, well, ours deserted us weeks ago. If my men are lost in the jungle and you have guides to spare, well, they would be quite useful to map out the area."
Why does that one want to strip us?
You know, we met the Flaming Fists on our way down, And you're really not better than them. But then I always knew the Order of Gauntlet was a bunch of blithering idiots, and that is why you weren't contacted for such an important mission. Now I'm gonna go to see to your men, since you cannot apparently respect people who come in offering you some help. And she just turns and gets out of the tent and goes and help however she can.
Do we hear that? Do we hear that, by the way?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's loud enough. Like you can
Yeah.
hear that from the next tent over.
I'll use I'll use precision first to do a very and then just make the sound of applause,
I
just
think
of magical applause.
I think I would be like on my county song, and we hear Gale, and there's a moment of silence, and I just replay with looking around, and that's what she said.
so. Give me a moment.
She is a military, but she's a sailor too.
Yeah, but he's also the commander of this camp and might go like seize them. I mean, they won't win.
I can burn their palisade down.
Oh, he's the one burnt right now. Burnt to crisp.
Now I think with that
Burn.
with that one, she needs the natural ability of the spell. Just mocking words. Here. Holy shit.
There's a. As you say that, the. He was sort of maybe leaning back. No, he probably stood up as he spoke, because he was sort of expecting to just place his hands on the table and continue working, and so he sort of stood up, leaned against the table. There's a moment where Alphonse Daudet mentioned in one of his books, Les Lettres de Mon Moulin, he mentions a quote that says that hate is the anger of the weak. I am not going to have you roll insight. There is a burning sense of hate in those eyes. There is his knuckles whiten around his fist, and there's definitely a sharp look towards a corner of the table where you see an ornate sword decorated with a gauntlet along the top of the scabbard. There's the words that come out of his mouth are through his teeth, gritted teeth.
The words of a noble.
As he says, you do not work under my you are not under my orders. You are not expected to. No, sorry, you said, as a woman of clergy and military, I would have expected a bit more understanding and respect for authority. I see that I am wrong. I cannot, in due faith, throw you out. For the sake of my men and for the sake of my oath, I owe you hospitality for the night. However, speak to me again in that tone, or for any other of your band of misfits go in any way against my will in this camp, and you will find yourself with the full consequences of going up against the Order of the Gauntlet. Is that understood, mercenary? Gale? He is expecting a response from you. Definitely. And if there is no response, it will be considered as a response.
Gil has a sigh, looks at him, and says, "Well, at least we agree on one count. For your men, we're staying here for the night." And she gets out.
Now, Gale, you've dealt with the Order of the Gauntlet. And yes, they are fanatics. But they are well organized band of fanatics. And and at that moment, the threat that he put in may have come in from an old, tired, and desperate man. But if you are marked by the Order of the Gauntlet, they will hunt you across the world because you would have been marked as basically an evil to be put down. And that is something that you understand. The other three might not. But there is something to be said about courting these fanatics and courting these. They will rush in. They believe with their whole heart that their death means nothing in the grand scheme of things. The only reason why this man is still in this godforsaken camp after months is because of his oath. And that I should have mentioned that to you guys earlier. Things would have maybe a bit smoother. As you step out from the tent, Gale, the camp is silent, dead silence, as everybody has heard the exchange. Sister Sias has gone white. Any color that she had left in her cheeks is gone, and she looks at you with the look of terror. As in, it's almost the, what did you do?
No, you didn't.
There's, as you look about your companions, a lot of them. The reaction is Eku does is no Eku.
However,
Eku just she definitely has a frown. She did not like what she heard. Does not understand, and she just and I think she's the one who sort of claps and says, "To work then," and she moves, grabs Inete, sort of grabs Inete, and they lead back to the tent. Sister Silas, at some point, almost realizes that she was holding her breath during the whole conversation. So there's that. Yes, please, please this way.
just when Gil gets out of the tent, she is dead serious. As in, she knows what happened. She knows the implications, consequences, and so on. But at some point, she just couldn't let it pass. I mean, he's marked as noble, and she's basically certain that the only reason why he's commander here and why
No, that's
is
not how it
because
works. That's
no,
what
no,
I'm.
no, but
What I'm saying is, I apologize for giving you that meta information, but do
Mhm.
not let that deceive you.
you know,
Order of the Gauntlets. He's marked as a noble, probably for his social stats.
okay.
But he would be a very. I would put him most likely at the rank of a veteran, or even um, or at least that. No, I would definitely be
I think it's
taking.
fair if you do.
Yeah, I would definitely take much higher stats for him.
Mhm.
The way I'm presenting Niles Breakbone,
Mhm.
definitely.
Yeah, it's fair.
That's fair.
I mean, he's still an asshat, but
Oh, absolutely. But
Yeah.
but don't understand the whole asshat is not coming from the fact that he's noble and that so he's
oh no,
owed respect.
No.
It's
oh no.
because that he has given himself to a cause and you've
Mhm.
insulted that cause.
But you know,
I
for,
don't know
Yeah.
that we've
basically
insulted the cause. We've
for Vroon,
insulted the means and the and everything else, but not the cause.
You
Yeah.
have
it's
denied his cause. You have said we've got more important shit to do,
yeah, we do.
which yeah, he doesn't see
Also,
that way.
like
Yeah.
for Vroon, it was basically the moment he stepped out was like, oh, you can't talk to me like that. I'm the commander of like, dude, you have fucking clerics and paladins and like you have adventurers with healing coming into your camp, and you're being a shithead because they're not being duly respectful to you. You're a fucking idiot. And that was for
Yeah.
Vroon like enough to like, okay, you know what? I'm just
Actually,
gonna
the
heal you.
group
If
kinda
you
is through with people putting up shit with them. Like they're through with it.
here's the thing. Um, actually, my Gale, as you pass by, as you come back, you have a sort of another glance at the way that the tent is organized, and there's something about which, um, with the mercenary's eye, you're sort of looking through that, and you're realizing the tent is set up for a military campaign. The commander seems to be a commander used to organizing troops, like the general of an army, the commander of an army. This is he's most likely used to. Well, I'll read the description here. Um, Commander Breakbone understands war well enough when it involves battle lines, waving banners, trumpets, and supply trains. But this war of ambush and creeping through the jungle only mystifies and frustrates him. And through the conversations with Sister Silas, you get that impression. This is he's very capable. He has undergone campaigns against marching of orc tribes. He has pushed back um, invasions of undead in north of Baldur's Gate. Push back armies of bandits that would be moving against. He is very, very competent. It's just that he's in the wrong place. But he will not be persuaded to leave by any of his subordinates.
Yep.
The night falls. Your preparations.
Maybe burn the spells we need.
Yeah,
We
please.
have used. Yeah.
I have used up my Leon hand.
Okay.
Okay, I
The
used at least one third level spell, and I'm gonna throw in 2 cure wounds too.
okay. Um,
First level.
as far as you heal the people that you can, you help them recover a bit, but these are mechanically speaking, they're considered as having about 3 to 4 levels of exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
which
Yeah.
means that they breathe easier, they might sleep easier, but that's not going to make them able fighting men.
No,
As
but I think my song can help with fatigue.
well, no,
Song of Rest.
no, it's only hit points on short rest.
Ah,
I know. Song of Rest is only one for. I mean, it's amazing, right? It's
maybe
short
for
rest.
morale.
No, absolutely, yeah. And it's something as you start playing. Maybe you play a bit louder because I mean you I mean you're used to playing in taverns, so the din of the and the noise or whatever. But and you project that energy within the camp. And so despite the heavy rain falling, there is that moment of respite as that calm before the storm, that all of them are not, you ease the tension with the song and Song of Rest.
And of
As
course, Vroon is going to like hoist himself into his adamantine armor and
Mhm.
go like, "Oh, there's undead coming tonight. Very well, I'll prepare."
Yeah, as you prepare, you are quite the sight, right? As in, they've seen Luxodon, they've seen Luck Beasts, but
But
one,
always with a backpack.
yeah, with a
Or
backpack, and this one has not only has a it has he has an adamantine weapon, an adamant. All of a sudden, as soon as you're garbed in that armor, you look the part of a paladin. You are no
Mhm.
longer in civilian clothing. You are now in full uniform, in full glory, and there's quite a bit of awe from the people around you. As the Heinrich, as
Yes.
Nugget is surveilling the forest around. By the way, remove 10 gold, please.
Yep, yep. I
Um,
apologize to Nugget also for transforming him.
I think that Nugget is very wet, very warm in its fur, in their fur, and so the ability to sort of reach out and explore and play. It's a very playful parrot that sort of appears in the before you, and soon enough you start approaching, you start seeing um, shapes appear in the distance,
The undead kind.
shambling,
Oh,
moving about. Some of them seem to
they're
be
coming from the west, right?
they'd be coming from the west. But don't worry, we're not gonna.
Ah,
This is mostly. I mean, you're within encampments. You've got spells, and they can guard the camp fairly. So this is not going to be a fight. This is not going to be roll initiative, right? I'm just trying to see with regards to
mhm.
the resources. I'm going to narrate this.
Yeah.
The first moment that I see one of those beautiful, I see if there's a big group,
Mm-hmm.
and I will fire my first salvo of
Okay.
level 3 Scorching Rays.
Yeah.
So as you your eyes are white as you're looking through Nugget's eyes, and you do indeed notice that there's quite a few. So the first couple of shambling zombies, skeletons. Some seemed to some of the skeletons seemed to wear scraps of old armor, rusted through rusted blades, down only on, by only, almost down to the stump. But some of the fresher bodies, um, clearly been attacked by the wildlife. You notice that a few of them seem to have a blue marking on their forehead, a blue triangle.
Do I recognize blue triangles in magic kind wise?
It's a blue triangle. It could be anything.
Uh,
There's no specific. Hmm?
I
They
have a
are obviously
question.
Azorius.
What did we do with the corpses of the flaming fish?
I don't know.
Did
Where
we
did you?
Oh wait,
did we
I think. Yeah,
throw
I think. Yeah, you
them?
threw them in the river. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So whatever remains they might have, they're floating down towards Porty and Zara right now.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so some of these fresh, they seem to be locals. Some of them, but others not. You notice at least maybe you notice one of them seems to be I would most likely a tattered tabard that you would recognize from the tabards of the Flaming Fist. So maybe somebody died in a patrol and got resurrected, or raised into the dead. But mostly locals, and a lot of these bodies are old, very, very old. And you start noticing, okay, there's maybe 10, 20, 30, 40 of them. And then you start seeing beasts.
Hmm.
Dinosaurs of silhouette barely resembling life. Some of them, well, I mean, not a lot of them are fairly big, but there's definitely sort of this ball of undead that seems to be rolling towards it. As you start flinging the first spells, and the guard next to you in his trumpet sounds two short um, blasts, and the commander, sort of Niles, comes out of his tent and starts shouting out orders, basically saying, "Okay, you know the drill. We've done this before. We have pushed them again, and we will push them again tomorrow and every night where they come back." The guards don't. Um, they maybe have a turn. Okay, no specific orders. Okay, we go back. They've heard this speech before. It's the same speech every night. And the guard next to
Mhm.
you basically mumbles that again and saying, uh, there's definitely a moment where he's I think he has a prayer, and he seems to be listing a series of names. There are 5 or 6 of them, and you that he keeps as a mantra, sort of repeating again and again. When you ask him, it's the names of his wife and his children, and again and again and again. Um,
Mm.
the story among the guards is pretty much the same one. They were hired as warriors to accompany to accompany into the jungle the Order of the Gauntlet, and this particular one they've been stuck here for a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, the they don't even have the how should I put it, the motivation of desertion, because no one who has left the camp has come back or sent word.
Like, does our help during
Yes,
that night, does that
definitely.
have any impact on their morale? Because
Oh,
like I
definitely.
can
Yeah.
imagine that like we're gonna make a big dent in that. Like
So how do you, yeah? So I can definitely imagine Heinrich blasting from above. But what do? Do you organize a sortie? Do you charge in?
I think
If
Vroon would literally just like sort of like he would stand on that western tower,
Mhm.
and once they get close, he would just jump down and start like he'd start up a
if
divine favor and just start.
Yeah. Okay.
if Brune would do that, I would enlarge him.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Like seriously, the
Well,
moment he would do that, I would see him prepare himself. I would say like, "Well, have fun." I would snap my finger, and you would see like Kaiju, Vroondomon, and I
yeah,
would
and
just
um,
say, "Let them fight."
add in.
yeah, and like divine favor also gives like radiant damage, and like at some point when it's getting too crowded, he would just use his ability to just jump back over the
Yeah.
wall like it's nothing.
Oh, and on my side, Gale is probably using her spells like Gust of Wind, Shatter, Sleet Storm to ward the sides of Rune, so that there is only one way that
Yeah, so
undead are coming.
you're definitely the while this horde is coming about, Rune in the center sort of is knocking backwards and forwards. There's the Heinrich and Gale, you're definitely sort of making sure that he doesn't get overwhelmed with spells, support,
Oh,
maybe spiritual
I'm
weapons.
sending an angry Fae to help him also.
Yeah, the Fae is okay.
And
stopping.
by the way, I'm probably using my my channel divinity to just to turn undead.
Two? What?
I was
Turn
turn on
undead.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
We
could
have a
cleric with
cleric.
paladin.
Yeah, but don't. It's. I mean, what's it?
I'm not that kind of paladin though. Like I don't do fancy turn on that shit.
Yeah, I mean, 30 feet. If your turn undead is not going to be very efficient from above the. But I mean, I'm with the palisade at your back. With the spells coming in, the support of the guards that are flinging arrows, the inete through the cracks in the sort of the meurtrière, so the how do you call them? Yeah, the slits between the arrow slits within the wall is also throwing spells. The Niles sort of comes up, and there's a moment where he's a bit taken aback about the sheer power that you guys are wielding. I mean, you are technically level 6 guys. This is you don't see a lot of
We're not technically level 6. We are.
yeah, no, that's what I mean. Is that you are powerful.
Yeah.
You are powerful individuals, and I think that his argument is going, why would these 4 adventurers be given this task?
And then he goes like,
yeah, definitely.
Because these motherfuckers kick some ass.
Yeah. The thing is, as he starts looking, there's definitely a nod as I think he joins you up on the tower, Heinrich, mentioning to the guard and say, no, go help the ones on the others, and he sort of has a nod to your to the last spell that you threw out there, and he says, and I think he mentions something along the lines of, we have found that they have a tendency of gathering closer to the larger ones. Aim your spells to that, and he starts giving you. He basically gives you it's not a command, right? But it's definitely a suggestion of going, aim for that guy there. No, that's the dangerous one. Those ones can breach our walls. Do you order? But do you follow it?
I will aim at it, but the look that I will give him is a look that is like, I will accept it, but it's like I heard the words that has been said, but my character is looking for it with him, like with very closed eyes, and while he's looking at him, he's just shooting the spells to the big guys, and he's just continuing to blasting his frost ray,
right?
And then he sneers at him, turns back, and then he casts a bigger spell against him and focus on the big one. But it's really the intention of, I'll do what needs to be done, but that
you're
tone,
not my friend.
Yeah.
But you're not my friend. I don't like you.
Can you make me an intelligence roll?
Oh, yippee, intelligence. I have a high one for that. Yay! I have a +9 for that. Oh, no, that's a saving throw. Sorry. +5 here.
There you
Nice.
go. So the way the way that the commander, you start realizing, as far as there was a moment where you were going, okay, this is a fop, this is, nobles, again, nobles, and he starts to shine at the strategy. You can see that he has you use the terrain to sort of move towards. He's a master of troop movement, right? And by the spell, by asking you what kind of spells you have at your disposal, what kind of means that you have at your disposal, he directs them to certain parts of the horde to sort of funnel them into Vroon. Um, making sure, for example, that at some points, if he gets overwhelmed, to maybe throw in again that ice to create maybe a barrier, so that they don't come in from the flank. Or he is very, very good at what he does. He has not just not had the means up until now. He's very good at, in this situation, with with martial experience. You know that he knows the terrain. He has set up the traps and the different things. And the night goes on. The battle lasts maybe for about 20 minutes, which is long in D&D fights. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
But as the night comes, there's maybe around 50 to 60 bodies of all shapes and sizes that sort of littering the outsides of the camp.
But only the outsides.
Yes.
I would have kept an eye on Eku.
Mm-hmm. Eku's been dealing with the sick.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the fight is done, I will turn and I will raise my voice, and I will just say, "This is a victory. Steel your heart. Morning will come. Keep to the sky for one day. The morning will come. So don't give up." And then I would just go down, find a corner, and start to cast the magical tent and install myself.
As you step down the ladder, as you turn towards to climb down the ladder, you hear the commanders turn to you, and just as a just a it's a soft voice. So it's not he's not trying to hush it. He's not whispering to you, but there's just a very slow thank you. Thank you for your help.
You will just see a hand raising and do a okay and just walk.
A few more of those, Heinrich, and I'll make a bard out of you.
I'll make up. No,
He's so tired because I literally clicked every spell that I had. So he's just looking at you, shrugs, and just goes, starts to cast the spell, and is like, do
I'll
whatever you
make a
want.
rest song, a lullaby or something.
Just go to sleep. Jesus, we done our job. We did what we needed to do. We helped them, and anyone who's not in 15 minutes in this bubble, I'm gonna get personally, and I'm gonna force them to sleep. And I don't have the spell, but I have a very big stick I can knock out you with. So for the love of God, everyone goes to bed in 15 minutes. And I look at everyone, Salida, Eku, everyone. I'm like, 15 minutes, guys.
I think that's indeed the state that Gale is in too, as in she has used every single one of her spells and things she has, like channel divinity and so on.
Sorsha didn't use her loot.
No. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, Vroon, like he used divine favor, he used heroism, he used enhance ability. Like he's been
Now the
he's
strange.
been going through his
Now the thing is, I mentioned that the combat lasted 15 minutes. I love the biggest problem with D&D is that these fights are not planned out for. When you have a spell that lasts a minute, that's
a
long.
minute
in
is
D&D.
is
Yeah,
normally like, oh yeah, I can go 10 rounds with this shit, and then
Yeah.
suddenly it's like 20. Well, I will be using full divine favors. I will be using.
Yeah.
I should probably throw in an enhanced ability to get some extra hit points to get like more stamina, and
yeah.
once that runs out, heroism. Yeah.
Let's face it. This was full. I mean, this was a cutscene, right?
Yeah.
Like in Final Fantasy, where you see that character die permanently or get petrified, and you're going, "But I have
Yeah.
the Phoenix feather. Why can't I use it?"
Oh no.
The same
Because
way.
it's scripted.
Yeah, exactly. But there's
And-
definitely yes. You're not exhausted because that's a mechanic.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a moment where you have given the camp respite.
Oh,
What would
by
have?
the way,
Yep.
small detail.
Hmm.
Like Vroon would definitely have also put his what's it called drift globe up in the air, and he would have cast
Like-
daylight on it, like daylight just coming from that
Yeah.
globe, like.
Now, I would have asked, okay, who puts light on Vroondomon's armor just so
Mm.
that he is the most visible possible?
No, there's just like there's a globe hanging over him in daylight.
Mhm.
So like I don't know, like it's a sick ass light spell
Oh,
anyway. So
no worries, you have a light cantrip on your armor anyways.
oh
so-
yeah.
So the shining Luxodon Paladin wading through the undead.
Yeah, and also Luxodon plus
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
enlarge.
Yeah, so
I'm
you're,
not sure
you're
how
there
long enlarged lasts, but it's still like
1 minute.
probably a minute.
1
Yeah.
minute.
Hey,
Well, I think this is from D&D terms. This would be yeah. I mean, 15 minutes is long. Maybe this would have taken 5 minutes for the whole.
Mhm.
It'd be sort of several waves and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
One question. Did I recognize him from somewhere that he was in Waterdeep? Do I know with whom he was at that moment? Because I maybe have an idea. So he.
keep going.
Yeah. It's because if I know with whom he was, if it's important enough, or with my connections with Waterdeep, and if I already spent some time with that person, I'm literally gonna send a message and say like, "Hey, we have a person here who is keeping us up and being actually very unpolite. Could you send him a magical message for explaining the situation and let us go, and also make him clear that he's doing a good job, but he needs to stop being an asshole?" So I'm gonna call the manager.
Oh, magical Karen.
So I need to know. I need to know.
If your parents know this, dudes.
So
Don't
I
worry, I still have my
definitely-
pearl of power. I still have my pearl of power to have a regain a spell slot.
Okay. There has been Jesus. Okay.
Daylight,
She probably
daylight
saw
lasts
that.
an hour, by the way. Like
Yeah.
it's like we
Yeah,
finished this
daylight is
battle, and
way
it's still like la.
Yeah, at some point somebody goes, "Shut the light off."
Oh, sorry, you know.
Got the spell.
um, yeah, the as far as you haven't met a lot of the higher you would have had met a couple of there were a few of the order of the gauntlet at the the reception and the celebration that you had for your for the gold dragon, right? So you don't associate him with anyone in particular. However, you do know who would be, and there happens to be one person who knows them pretty well. Is technically it's your father. Your father, as a war mage.
Daddy.
Voilà.
Daddy.
Daddy, this
I
guy was mean to me.
So
the gist is that I'm gonna explain the situation
Mhm.
that we push back.
So,
I'm gonna explain
I'm-
like we push back the undead.
this
We
is one
need
spell, right?
Oh yeah.
one spell.
So
Yeah.
I need you to. I actually need
Yeah.
you to spell it out.
You,
this
you
one.
need to go in words because
Yeah, yeah,
it's limited.
Yeah. This is not a
Um,
conversation. This is a one tweet to TripAdvisor.
Take your time, write it down.
Yeah, this is technically a Yelp review that you're
Yeah.
sending to your father. Heinrich.
Because if you
Um,
add words like "daddy dearest," then it's going to take 2 words out of your.
yeah, I'm quickly going to.
Okay.
Commander Breakbones, right?
Yes.
He's calling to his daddy. He's calling to his daddy.
25 words, right?
Yep.
At
Hey,
Camp
where did you get that
Vengeance.
message from?
At Camp Vengeance. Pushed back undead.
Mhm.
Commander Breakbones is blocking our path. We need someone.
He needs reinforcements.
He needs reinforcements, and he treated me bad.
That's 21.
Okay, 2 words. He treated me bad and friends. I don't care. I don't care. He treated us bad. Period.
That is a very Karen message in the end.
Hey, you touch at my family, I will unleash daddy upon you, okay? I have daddy issues and I have mommy issues and I'm not scared to use them. Bring it on.
A message to his daddy.
Okay.
Literally,
Oh my.
The answer.
the reasoning why I say that is that because when you have literally a fanatic who is treating everyone bad, even if he's at the brink at his mental thing, but literally the threatening part towards the last part that he threatened everyone with, like, if you do something wrong that I don't like, I'm gonna kick your asses. For Heinrich, that was like, no,
Heinrich.
that's.
Heinrich. Did you mention he was the Order of the Gauntlet?
Mm.
No, I didn't say.
I mean, that's Order of the Gauntlet is 4 words. Like, no, of course
was-
not.
No, but he was missing.
Order
Gauntlet.
Ordered gauntlets.
So I will mention that I will say that as a chronal shift, I will be a generous GM and allow your chronal shift to say, oh wait, no, I forgot something. So you unsend and resend.
Yeah. I think the last part of I would be like it would be like order gauntlet in I would put in with Commander Brigbone.
Mhm.
I mean, also, I think you would have at least written down the message before you do a sending spell.
Yeah.
Like,
but I would,
we're winging this now, but like,
the gist of there is it, but I think I would still put in that he was unpleasant. I'll make it less Karen, but less like me as a noble. I'm not pleased of his attitude.
The only thing that you're adding is Order of the Gauntlet. The rest of the message is going in.
Okay.
I don't think that. I think that that's the only. I mean, the thing is, you would have chrono shifted the moment where your father says, "I do not." The answer would have been, "I don't know who this person is," and you would go, "Oh right, Order of the Gauntlet," and gone. I think the
Who the fuck is that?
yeah.
Oh, you mean yes.
I think the answer comes in. Um, um, members of the Gauntlet are often unpleasant. You should know how to deal with that. I will, as in, you can hear the tone, as in, there's a tone in the way he's saying is that I taught you better than to come to daddy. Had you sent that to mother, she would have raised war on your behalf.
You
But
sent it to the wrong
Yeah,
person.
but daddy is definitely going, what, are you 6? But we'll investigate, we'll know more in a few hours.
Can I answer on that, what he said?
If you send him another spell.
No.
Because
then
that's
no.
his answer to you.
Yeah, but I'm out. I'm out of.
In the morning, then.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, he'll come back to
Speaking
you
speaking
for
of the
his
morning, I
yeah.
am definitely changing my spells in the morning because it's like, okay, so we're now suddenly dealing with lots of disease, lots of undead. I am going to have some prayers and change my spell list.
Before I put the bubble up, I will literally scream very loud. Okay, band of misfits, nighttime. Now!
Nice.
Okay.
And I will wait. I will count to 10, and if not everyone is in the bubble, I will send messages until the person will arrive in the bubble.
You don't have spells anymore.
It's a cantrip. I can cast it as much as I want.
Yeah, message not sending. My bad.
Sorsha will
So-
just have use her song rest and then. Anyway.
There's a as you set yourselves up to Echo has been fairly silent, but you know she's walked about and she was on she was seen on the sort of peering through the wall and at some point she mentions as you sort of she takes that breath that the same breath that she took when she was uh, telling you the story of man and crocodile, and she says and I think she brings in um, I think she brings in the priestess as well, so Sister Sayas. And she says, hmm?
No, I was thinking about something, but it can't wait.
Okay. She says, over a century ago, a warlord decided that the city of Mesro was his to take. He raised an army of undead, and by his power, moved hundreds, thousands of corpses through the jungle. It is uncertain where he came from or where he had acquired such power. But in the end, that power was his undoing. The name of the warlord is lost to time, and I would prefer it to stay that way. But he is these days known under a different name. Rasensi. So
Does that
Ras.
name me like
Right.
my character knows a bit about the city of Mesro. Because it's sort of a holy city.
Yeah.
Does that name mean anything to me?
Rasensi. Yeah, you would have heard of the battle. You would have most likely there would have been some of your ancestors would have been involved.
Hmm?
Rasensi was already ancient by the time of the attack, and his forces had grown. But once he was defeated and pushed back into the jungle, his armies were dispersed. Wraiths, ghouls, and undead have been plaguing the center of this peninsula ever since. And she turns to Sister Sias. The evil that you are searching for, you will not find it behind a tree, for it is the jungle itself. You are plagued here by disease, by these blood flies that move in from the basin. But as over a century ago, another plague hit the jungle, that of undeath. There is no end to these creatures, and they have marked this place for the taking. They have seen your life, and they wish to snuff it out. If you remain here, it is not a fight. It is entropy. There is a reason why there are no longer any cities within the jungle. You must persuade your commander to go back. He will find no honor here, no victory. Sister Sias sort of nods in a way that, of course, she's known this. And it's very, again, Eku has that voice of a school teacher,
Mm-hmm.
telling a lesson, but for once, it's not directed towards you.
Yeah.
And for once, Sorsha is really listening. And by the way, when she was keeping an eye on Eku, she wasn't hiding. So Eku probably saw Sorsha keeping an eye on her.
I have talked to some of the men that I've healed. They spoke of a mark upon some of the cadavers joining the fight. A blue triangle. Is that correct? And she turns towards you. Have you noticed this?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's also one of those.
Yes.
That is the
Same
mark.
here.
That is the mark of Rasensi. The mark placed upon his followers, those who worship him, follow him in life and in death. I say this with compassion for your men here. Go back to Port Nyanzaru. if you wish to come back, find someone who will teach you the ways of the jungle, for you are not ready for it. This is not a place for men and armies. Port Nyanzaru stays. Protect it. These folk I have followed because I believe in their quest. I have seen what they can do, and I will lead them there to their destination. I am not saying that your commander is a fool. I just think that he doesn't know what he's looking at.
And that is probably the moment where I'll add the little bit of information that the commander asked about the men trapped in the jungle.
Is that why he remains? Just for
I-
his men that he is missing? It sounds like it might be a thing
A
that keeps him
part of
here.
it. Part of it is pure stubbornness and righteousness and the belief that that oath of his of erasing all evil will be able to rid the jungle of this infestation. But I sincerely think that he's not wholly bad and that he also cares deeply for his men. So if we bring his men back from the jungle, or
Then
at
this
least
idiot
prove,
might return.
we might
Maybe.
have one argument to make him move.
All this time, by the way, you have no idea that Heinrich went full Karen.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, so just so you understand, yeah.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I'm.
No. And we're
Yeah.
gonna, don't worry, we're coming to the end here. As as you slip into what is a fairly restful night for the camp. The rain has sort of abated. The jungle has taken its normal noises. Sorsha, you still keep an eye out as you. There's a moment during the night where you see Eku sort of step out from the bubble. Do you follow her?
Yeah.
Okay. You see her walk towards one end of the camp where there's one of the guards seems to have maybe sort of slumped a bit on his spear or and clearly sort of sleeping on a bit sleeping on the job. She turns to you and she says, you're sort of walking in the back. There's a moment where she waits, and maybe waiting for you to either to reveal yourself or to join in. But there's definitely a moment where she stands there. She turns towards you.
Oh, no, I'll just walk to her.
There's not many things that I am allowed to do. But when I see the misery of these people, I will be back. And you see her shape start to grow. The arm, her shape becoming slender, starting to elongate. The colors that in that you see in her cloak and her garments turns to scales and feathers as this immense snake sort of appears, and in a whirlwind just sort of shoots up into the air. And the last thing that you see her before the next morning is that shape above the canopy, above the right as it passes through the moon, heading north. And that's where we're going to end tonight.
Well done.
Thank you for the game.
Yeah.
Whew! That last moment was not at all improvised. It is so difficult to handle Eku. All of the other NPCs are fairly, because they're not as powerful. They don't have this thing. It's very difficult to say, oh, by the way, yes, this creature here, she can do so many things, but she's not going to. Why? Right?
That was not the reason I was watching her, but fine. I did put some pressure. Sorry.
No, I think, well, you are the one person she can't read into, right? So I'd be curious to know why exactly you were watching her. But maybe we keep that for a conversation for the next session.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the interviews.
Oh, yes, we still need to do the interviews. We've been very bad with regards to that. Yes.
I did my homework.
Yeah, you did your homework. Now, but here's the thing: is that you've did your homework. But now, considering what we know about what you guys are going to be playing, what some of you are going to be playing in the white book that I'm pointing here for the next campaign, I might actually have to come back to you because we need to learn a bit more about the Thunderstaff family.
No problem.
But spoilers for
Yeah.
but I mean, it's a year. We'll see.
It might take a while.
It might take a while.
Yeah.
Okay. In the
There's
meantime,
time.
thank you for the game, guys. It is, as always, a pleasure. And well, Yannick, you want to stay up another 4 hours?
Yep. No, I'm staying up for 4 hours.
Okay. Well then, thank you for playing. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon enough. Bye bye.
Bye.